Now, would you believe it that this big brutish looking SUV from Audi, the Q5, actually packs a meek sounding 2-liter petrol motor? But then that's the effect of global downsizing. It's hit the engine world as well. It's got cleaner and it's meaner. And it just fits the Q5 really well. Let's see what the TFSI is like. First, the Q5's basics. This tough urban SUV weighs nearly 1.9 tons and has a 4-wheel drive system. To live up to the image, it needs a lot of grunt to zip on the roads and off them. But under the hood sits a meek sounding 2-liter motor. How can that be enough? Well, that's where technology like TFSI steps in. Well, let's take it part by part. This T stands for, you guessed it, there's a turbocharger strapped onto this motor which forces it more air into the cylinders, which means there's more oxygen available, which means more kaboom. Back in the day, F1 cars with tiny 1.8-liter motors produced 1000 bhp of power. Yep, it's quite simple. Turbochargers will get an engine to produce more bang per RPM without increasing the engine size. This 2-liter motor is developing 211 bhp. Normally, if you wanted that kind of power, you'd need a much bigger engine. As a result, the Q5 can sprint from 0 to 60 in 4.26 seconds, and it manages to hit 100 in 9.14 seconds. And that is pretty quick for this SUV. Top speed is electronically limited to 250 km an hour. Meanwhile, in day-to-day driving, turbos can be a bit frustrating because of the lag. With improvement in turbo technology, things have gotten better, and also because of FSI, or fuel stratified injection. What FSI does is, it injects the right amount of fuel straight into the cylinders at just the right time, so it gives you very good control over combustion and increases efficiency. That in turn improves drivability, and wait for it, fuel consumption and of course, emissions. So it's no surprise that the Q5 TFSI manages to go from 20 to 80 in 5.29 seconds, while 40 to 100 takes 7.15 seconds. That's quicker than some SUVs which are lighter and offer more displacement. Quite clearly, this technology works. A lot of manufacturers are using it. They just call it by different names. Volkswagen calls it TSI, they use it on the Passat, Skoda use it on their Superb and on the Laura, Mercedes calls it CGI, BMW used the same technology as well. Sure, each one has a slight difference, but it's basically the same principle, and more cars will adopt this in the future, even your Maruti. It will take some time before this combination of technologies trickles down to everyday cars in India, because it is, as of now, on the expensive side. Well, 40 lakh rupees might seem like a lot for a 2-liter petrol SUV, but as it turns out, this Q5 really does hold quite a few punches in its arsenal. So after driving it, I have to say the 2-liter motor doesn't feel out of place in the Q5. It's an engine that's got punch. It's got the petrol thrills. If you want a petrol that revs like a petrol, nice and clean and really energetic in that sense, this 2-liter motor is really great on that front as well. Along with that, you've got decent efficiency coming from this small displacement motor. And then you have another fact that this is actually 6 lakh rupees cheaper than the diesel. So the Q5 TFSI, quite a good package. Italian beauties are scorching into India this year. This time it is premium Italian car maker Maserati. They have announced their entry into the booming luxury car market in India. It's just proved to be too hard to resist. To make a big splash, Maserati has come in full force. Recently, they unveiled their entire model range for the Indian market.
Well, Maserati have just launched their range of cars in India with the Shreyans Group. Their first dealership is to be set up in Mumbai, and by early 2012 you will see a dealership in Delhi. They promise 7 dealerships by 2015 in India. They're coming in with the full model range, the Quattroporte, the Gran Turismo and the Gran Cabrio, and prices range from 1.2 crore rupees to 1.5 crores ex-showroom Delhi. You will see them with 4.2 litre and 4.7 litre V8 engines in various states of tune. Well, they may not be as edgy as a Ferrari or as a Lamborghini, but they definitely have the Italian heritage, they have great looks, they're sporty cars, and they're far more practical.
Well, there's no denying the appeal of Maserati's masterfully crafted sheet metal. But what exactly drew the company to Indian shores?
We've been looking at the Indian market with great interest over the past few years. And we've been monitoring the growth of the premium car segment. And I think that in 2007, we were comfortable to enter into the Indian market as the segment over the past 2 years has been growing quite importantly. So I think that now the size of the segment is made us comfortable to enter into the Indian market.
This Fiat sub-brand company has appointed the Shreyans Group as its official importer in India. Their target is to sell 100 Maseratis in 3 years.
The first dealership in Mumbai will open later this year, around the F1, and the second dealership in Delhi will open early next year. And then you will see a spur of dealerships across potential markets in India. By the third year, the target is very clear. We will do 3-digit figures.
This launch could well be the beginning of an Italian invasion in India. Now we expect Ferrari, the parent company of Maserati, to prance into India as well.